Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, back again for another live show. Just walking and avoiding the stormy weather. Hurricanes approaching, hopefully not. So yeah, we're gonna do the, you're familiar with this format. This is just the live show where I walk around through random environments and chat about whatever. And today's topic's drones. So obviously Mavic Air 2. Can't wait to receive mine. Got it ordered from epicdroneshow.com. And man, it's going to be, Mavic Air 2 is going to be here before we know it. So just kind of gearing up for the Mavic Air 2. And, you know, again, like all drones, keeping the expectations, you know, no positive expectations whatsoever. You know, going at it like I do with every drone. You know, taking it out of the box and providing an honest evaluation of the drone right out of the box. Does the build quality seem to be good? You know, what could be better from a build quality perspective? How about improvements to design? You know, something I'm excited about with Mavic Air 2 is the the controller. How the smartphone will mount to the top of the controller. I don't know if you've been annoyed by the previous Mavic models, but you know, attaching your smartphone underneath the controller, at least for me, has always felt a little bit cumbersome. So, you know, having that smartphone attachment on top of the Mavic Air 2 controller ought to be really nice. So I'm excited to get that in my paws and play with that. You know, that's a huge design improvement for sure. And then also, you know, the battery life, that's going to be interesting to see, you know, how long does it fly in real world conditions? And does the flight time of the Mavic Air 2 in the real world, does it meet or exceed the flight time of Mavic 2 Pro or Mavic 2 Zoom? You know, that's a big question that I can't wait to answer when my Mavic Air 2 arrives. So it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be here before we know it. So, you know, be gearing up and getting those questions ready for for me, so I can get out there and answer your questions live in the field. And remember, danger, high voltage, keep off. Always remember, warning labels are always important. So, you know, pay attention to them. Always important. So, yeah, we got, you know, Mavic Air 2. Can't wait. Cannot wait. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, I know this is kind of an odd hour. It's about 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. New York City time. That's that big city over there on the East Coast of the United States of America. Yep. So, yeah, but Mavic Air 2 is going to be, man, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to pump something up, but I tell you, on paper, man, I'm so excited. The specs on paper, the Mavic Air 2 are phenomenal. So, you know, the big question is just, you know, is it going to perform as well as it seems that it should, you know, just by looking at the specs on paper. So we will see. We will find out. We will know before we realize it. I mean, it's going to be here before we realize it. I mean, I've got my Mavic Air 2 ordered from Epic Drone Show, and it'll be here before we know it. So, and I think this hurricane's coming too. I hope there's not a hurricane. But looking at those clouds, man, they're kind of iffy. But yeah, we're just gonna continue this walk here. Try to burn a good. Let's see. Yesterday I burned about 1,000. No, actually I burned about 2,500 calories, which was pretty good. Today I've done a lot of work in the studio, so I haven't been as productive from a caloric perspective today as I was yesterday. But you know, there's still stuff to talk about. Drones, you know, again, especially the Mavic Air 2. Look at this. It's getting sketchy out here, man. It's getting sketchy. Look at these trees. It is definitely getting sketchy. Sketchy. Sketchy weather. Not a good type of weather to fly a drone, that's for sure. Very windy, very blustery. That wind is blowing strongly. And there's rain falling. Oh no. If I start seeing lightning, I'm gonna take cover. Yeah, because this is not good. Yeah, I did if you didn't check it out, check out my IRIX Guys live show from earlier. I did a show in the studio, in the new IRIX Guys Adventure Channel studio, and I provided a tour of the new studio. So that was exciting. Had a bunch of people tune in. A lot of good stuff. But yeah, we're just getting ready for whatever's next, and it's gonna be here before we know it, man. It is gonna be here soon. So what are y'all doing right now? Well, obviously y'all are watching this live show, but anything exciting going on? Any technology that you found that's of interest, or any sort of maybe not even technology, but just something cool and entertaining? You know, is there something that you found that's worth chatting about? This is just a walk and ramble show, so I'm just walking around and rambling about drones, and you know, we can chat about whatever. Let's see, I've got the live chat up here. Remind everyone that, you know, you can, since this is a live show, if you want to super chat, you know, you definitely can. That's one of the cool things about YouTube live shows. Whoa, emergency. Emergency. Yeah, we can chat about anything. It does not matter. Get this conversation started here. I see online, and that's not fair in my opinion. But as soon as Mavic Air 2 arrives, the production unit that I've ordered from epicdroneshow.com, I'll be unboxing and field testing thoroughly and answering all of your questions and posting a ton of what I'm really curious about. The Mavic Air 2 is, you know, the camera quality, and during the day, can I beat, during regular daylight hours, can I beat the video quality of Mavic 2 Pro? And then at sunset, how well does the Mavic Air 2 compete with the Mavic 2 Pro? Obviously, Mavic 2 Pro has a 1-inch sensor camera, which on paper should provide superior low light performance. So that's the biggest curiosity I have about Mavic Air 2 right now, is that, you know, that camera, the camera's capability. You know, is it going to be able to hang with Mavic 2 Pro's camera, even though it doesn't have a 1-inch sensor? It's one of those things, you know, it's newer tech though. The camera itself is newer camera technology. So, you know, you can often have something that's newer and maybe spec-wise in comparison to older generation cameras, it may still be able to outperform it just because it's newer tech. And again, that's to be determined. So we don't know. We won't know until my Mavic Air 2 arrives and I share an honest field test with y'all. You know, no expectations prior to its arrival. Just a matter of how's it going to perform after it arrives, you know? So, I mean, we'll see. We will definitely see, man. But, I mean, I don't know. Do y'all think it's going to be the goose's feather? The Mavic Air 2? You think it's going to be the greatest thing since bacon? What are y'all's thoughts? Man, it's raining hard, man. It is raining hard. I'm getting wet. It's crazy. But gotta walk. Got a YouTube live, so not gonna let a little rain put a damper on this live show. Isn't that right? Y'all hear about those? Hello, M-Dub K20. Welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard to a live show. Got a lot of people out there by tuning in. Again, this is just the casual format show where I just walk through a field and a parking lot and talk about drones or whatever. So y'all got questions, you know, I may have answers, so ask away. Yep, gotta be prepared, man. Got to be prepared. Yep, so we've got Mavic Air 2. Cannot wait. Tell you everybody's buzzing on the internet about Mavic Air 2. And, you know, again, until it arrives, it's just going to be excitement. I think that's kind of cool, though, because with a new drone, you know, it's kind of like, you know, the way Apple used to, and I still love Apple, but the way that Apple used to be when Steve Jobs was around, you know, every time, whether you were an Apple fan or not, every time Apple had a launch event, you know, everybody got excited, whether you were an Apple fan or not. All visitors, please report to the front office. Nice to watch me watching all your old videos 8 years ago. Can see the bezel turn. Yeah, that's the one thing about aluminum is that, now I will throw in some cautionary words with the Planet Ocean, and I learned this from I won't mention their name, but one of the big watch people in St. Thomas, and you know, their cautionary words about the Planet Ocean, you know, the one with the orange bezel, is that's an example of an aluminum bezel that fades, but not in a good way. So this one, I mean, I got this back in, was it 2000 and, when did I get this? Maybe 2001? Had it like 19 years, I think. But yeah, it's turned, as you can see, it's a light, and everybody says it's got good patina. And of course, it's got the blue wave dial, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, they said the Planet Ocean with the aluminum orange bezel is one to avoid, because they said it fades and it looks awful. So that's the advantage to aluminum, is that, you know, the bezels can fade and develop a good patina. The disadvantage is they can also fade and look horrible. So, you know, something to be aware of. And the thing with ceramics are probably never going to fade. So, you know, that's, you know, it's a matter of personal preference. But it's interesting nevertheless. That's a field that is as interesting, if not more interesting, than drones. I mean, there's so many tiny, seemingly insignificant aspects that really have have a huge impact. You know, just something as small as the bezel material and the bezel color. But yeah, we ought to do a live show and talk about. There's a lot of people online. That would be a good topic too, on top of drones. Watch collecting advice and that sort of stuff, because it's a complicated game. But yeah, I like when they fade, looks better. How do you need to service? Looking to buy another quartz. You know what? I've never serviced it, man. I mean, I've never serviced it, and I haven't. I know it's not running at COSC right now, COSC. But I've never serviced it. And actually, I don't intend to service it unless the time within a 24-hour period becomes highly noticeable. You know, I need to time it to see how off of COSC it is. But it's, I mean, these things are built like a tank. I do think that Omega, as far as build quality is concerned, I would go as far as to say they're probably the most durable watch. I can say the case, and especially with the brush finish. I mean, this thing, like I said, I got this back in like 2001, and it looks great. I mean, the clasp has wear on it right there on the bottom part, but I mean, they're built like a tank. And you know, the movement, I think this is just an ETA movement. Yeah, I mean, I know it is, because it was before. Omega's gone really big in-house initiative the past few years. In-house initiative the past few years, rather. But, yeah, this just has the ETA. And actually, ETA movements are picking up in popularity, because the advantage of an ETA is that most any watchmaker can service an ETA movement. Whereas when you're dealing with in-house movements, you know, finding a reputable watchmaker that can service a particular in-house movement can be a challenge. And that's, I mean, I don't know. There's two sides of the fence on because a lot of people say, oh, it's got an ETA, and for certain types of collectors, they'll look at that and say they don't want it, just because, you know, certain type of collectors feel that ETA is rubbish. And then again, your other collectors say, well, it's ETA, it's affordable to service. So, well, and it's reliable. I mean, it's proven, ETAs have been proven to be very reliable movements. Now, you're not going to get, you're not going to get the precision of an in-house Rolex movement out of an ETA, but as far as serviceability is concerned, you know, you're going to have, you're going to, most any even basic level watchmaker should be able to service an ETA. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy they canceled Basel World. So I don't know. I think it's kind of a good thing. I mean, I think all the manufacturers are just kind of putting their releases on hold, it seems, which is a good thing. You know, maybe they'll really come out and surprise us all with some good stuff if the entire world hasn't collapsed by then. That's the only bad thing, man, with this pandemic. You know, and it's, speaking of the pandemic, man, it's one of those things, and I've talked to several people, and I'm just like, well, you know, let's say hypothetically that you turn on the news tomorrow, and hypothetically tomorrow that the media are saying, oh, everything's safe. You know, what are you going to think? You know, today, for example, cases are on the rise, you know, blah, 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 blah. But what if tomorrow they said that, oh, everything's okay, you're safe? Would you really believe the media? Do you believe the media now? And would you believe the media tomorrow if their opinion changed? What's funny not funny, but what's interesting is with the perceived easing of stay-at-home orders, it seems that people have, you know, I've noticed a lot of people, again, from a distance, a long distance. But notice a lot of people that have, they're just walking around like normal, don't even have a mask on. I see them wipe their nose. I see them put their, cool, man, good to see you, M-Dub. But, see them wipe their nose, see them put their phone up to their face. Just totally reckless behavior. And, I'm not a fearmonger, but I do feel that, I don't know. The bad part is that, people assume there's a start and stop button, and that once the stop button's pushed, that everything's back to normal. And that's unfortunately not the case. And there's too many people that are prematurely letting their guard down, and and becoming a threat for others and themselves too. Even if they're asymptomatic. So it is kind of it is very scary. And again, I don't even watch the news anymore. News makes me so mad that I can't even turn it on. So, but I've just been noticing, every few days or so, I will check and see what the closed down status is, and are these numbers that they're possibly artificially creating, are they rising, are they diminishing? I'll spend maybe 5 minutes and do a quick check, but I won't sit there and watch, man, because you start watching the news, you go down this rabbit hole of, it's not good. It's just, I could think of more productive ways to spend my time. And, if I get a 5-minute micro briefing from the fake news every day, I'm content with that. So, but that's the thing. I think, now this is so stupid, but now it's become now they're 90 whatever. I work in healthcare. None of the current relaxings of shelter, stay at home are based on public health. It's economic. 2 deaths. Yeah, dude, 90 whatever. I agree 100%. And I know people personally that have lost neighbors, that have lost family members. And it's not a case that was doctored up. It's like, they had condition XYZ, but they also had COVID-19. So, we'll just put COVID-19 for cause of death. No, these people that I know personally are people that, they had no pre-existing conditions or whatever, and it was definitely, the root cause of their death was the COVID-19. So, and you're right, it's purely the perceived easing of stay-at-home restrictions, etc. You're right, it's purely economic. And the sad part is that, and keep, take in mind, I am pro capitalism, pro entrepreneurship, pro big business. But with that being the case, I feel that I have common sense, and it's one of those deals where if people relax, and it's like anything else. An example I used earlier, the economy in our country can't survive lockdown. We have to learn to live. Yeah, that's the problem. We can't. It's kind of a problem. If the lockdown continues, it's going to destroy the economy. But if people are released to roam wild prematurely, then we could see. And I've learned this from speaking with the actual medical community. Not with the media and relaying their interpretations, but with actually from speaking with the real medical community directly. And when you do that, if you've done that, the thing that you'll learn is that what is being set up here is something that could create an even more serious wave too. So the world as a whole has already invested X number of months into locking down and trying to prevent the spread. However, the problem is that there's a lot of people that are getting impatient, right? Justifiably so. but the fear that I have, just looking at this non-politically, is that if things are reopened and this spreads and we see a worse wave 2, then all the time that was spent already in lockdown the past few months or whatever, I mean, it varies country by country and state by state, but all of that in essence would have then become time wasted, because then that time, because it was ended prematurely, has created a phase 2 that's even more serious, which is going to require more stay-at-home time. So you're extending, in essence, it's extending the time until the issue is resolved, and that's the scary part. I mean, yeah, it's rough. I mean, a few weeks is rough, a few days is rough, but when you're looking at a few months versus potentially, quadruple the number of months because, things were relaxed too early, from a medical perspective, those, I don't know. I mean, there's really no right or wrong answer. The bottom line is that this should have, as soon as, and I remember the day, and this was, and I'm sure it existed way before that, but I remember the day that it was announced and they were talking about, the Wu flu, and, in Wuhan, it was on the news, and, and many people, including myself, took note that was being communicated, that had been communicated, but, then I'm like, well, this isn't right, and you ever get a gut feeling that something's not right, and then sure enough, I'm like, man, this is going to hit the world, and, fortunately, I was able to get, some supplies to be prepared, better prepared. And that was, and sure enough, this unfortunately has become a reality. So it's, I don't know, there's not a right or wrong answer. I mean, I agree, everything can't stay shut down, but I think there's opportunity for businesses at a worldwide level to be able to improve their business models to better enable themselves to thrive during these times. Work from anywhere models, changing workflows within businesses that make remote support easily doable. And I understand there's that's the other challenge. There's certain professions that require hands-on. Medical professionals. That's a prime example. I mean, you can't perform a surgery from an internet connection, at least not yet. I mean, I'm sure there's robotic tools that could in the future make that possible, but at least right now, there's at least some degree of hands-on stuff. Completely agree. We ramped up our telemedicine capability 3,000%. Says, I agree, man. I mean, it's but there's those certain procedures and those certain diagnostics that have, at least now, they still require the hands-on. And but I think the positive from this, and it's a horrible thing that's happened, but the positive is that I think we're going to see a lot of new businesses emerge as a result of this. I mean, I think we're going to see a lot of companies that are going to be providing remote procedures for almost everything, whether it's medical or or other types of things. I mean, there are some things that at least now will have to be performed by a person, and one of those things is sanitation, for example. I mean, you've got to pick up your bins. We are sending 3G enabled tablets to our patients, setting them up with remote monitoring for blood work. Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, that's just one example, and I think we're going to see a lot of a lot of other things emerge, and that's after this starts to clear, I think that'll be the exciting part, to see the types of companies that'll be created that in the past they may people aside from your prepper type community, that, was preparing for the apocalypse. Those people have been around forever. But, now I think you're going to see people that historically rather, would not have badged themselves as a prepper, but after the pandemic, they will then be they will then be a newborn prepper because of what they experienced. And I think that's when we're going to see a lot of people. Your traditional prepper was stockpiling food, stockpiling ammo, stockpiling, stuff like that. But the new prepper that's going to be created as the product of the pandemic is going to be the prepper that's going to be developing improvements for the medical community. How can you do more remotely? Improvements for the workforce in general. How could you possibly do your job without being physically tethered to a facility, working alongside other people? There's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff. And one of the things like sanitation workers, that comes to mind. Picking up garbage pickup. Yeah, there's a truck and there's people in the truck, but what if, to minimize contact in the future, what if there's still a person driving the truck because it's not self-driving, or self-driving is not allowed? But what if everything else could be computerized? An arm that picks up the bin and dumps it in the truck, so there's no contact. Well, the problem this is going to create is, the problem is going to be there's going to be a lot of jobs in the past that required humans, and those humans are going to be replaced with machines. I think we're going to see a lot more of that. However, those machines are going to have to be administered, they're going to have to be updated, and they're going to have to be controlled by humans somewhere. So, I think we're going to see in brick and mortar facilities, I think we're going to start to see a lot more machines, but we're going to see a workforce that's spread throughout the world. And, now, all of this, the scary part is that all of this is dependent upon the internet continuing to function. And if the internet doesn't function, then, that could really, imagine if right now the internet went down. Well, we'd lose this live stream. But if certain businesses were dependent upon the internet, especially the medical community, if the internet went down, it could create catastrophic results. So, there's really no right or wrong. But, again, I'm glad to hear you say what you said. This is real. Yes, I know that the media are all about ratings and bumping up their ad revenue, but this is definitely real. And, whether it's as severe as the media are trying to make it out to be, it's definitely real. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. You can't allow yourself to become impatient. And I know a lot of people personally that have let their guards down and are doing things that, I've seen people, just holding a cell phone to their ear, for example. And I'm like, hey, when did you last sanitize your cell phone? And they can't answer it. I said, think about, everything you've done throughout the day, everything you've touched, from your credit card to doors to whatever, and then you touched your phone. If you didn't clean your phone, now the phone's on your face, against your face. Therefore, everything that you've touched has been transferred to that phone if you've touched your phone. So I said, for that reason, I would suggest you invest in some earbuds. I know that sounds crazy, but there's so many people getting this from a smartphone held to their face, and they don't even realize it. And it's, I don't know. And again, the one problem is becoming too stressed out by it, and then you kick yourself into a state of paranoia, and you're constantly paranoid. I think there's a fine line between being turbo proactive about everything and letting yourself fall victim to paranoia. And for that reason, I consider myself to be extra turbo vigilant when it comes to cleaning everything. and even my shoes. I will never wear shoes inside my quarantine. And if I have to escape quarantine, or have to leave quarantine rather, for essential business, if I have to do that, as soon as I get back, before I re-enter quarantine, I strip everything down and I scrub down. I either take a shower with soap and water, or just quickly scrub down before re-entering quarantine. And then before I touch the doorknob to re-enter, of course, I use an antibacterial wipe, not antibacterial, but disinfecting wipe on on the doorknob and on my hands and everything. So it's there's a lot of steps, and that's the biggest fear is when I run out of antibacterial or disinfecting wipes, and I'm rationing those, but those are kind of a luxury, because at least you have enhanced peace of mind that you may not have any of that stuff on your hands or your arms. That's the other thing, picking up boxes. I mean, if you go out and pick up a box and it hits your elbows or your forearms, you need to scrub those forearms too, because they've made contact. And dropping a box, if you drop it from a decent height, there's a possibility that could stir that up and make it airborne. So for that reason, I always wear a mask. So true, we can make smart choices of viruses to mitigate infections. What is scary is an EMP solar flare. Oh, EMP attack. Yeah, that would, man. Yeah, an EMP, and if this, and again, we won't know until, when and if all of the hard evidence emerges. But if it turns out that this was, sorry about that, had a little bit of buffer in there for a second, but yeah, if it turns out it was created in a lab, then, if that's the case, then that's going to be a red flag, because to your point, yeah, an EMP would cripple business. I mean, you already got, you've got to, if it turns out that this was created in a lab, and that's phase one, hypothetically, and then you had a follow-up EMP, after most of the workforce is working remotely, then, that could be catastrophic for, I don't know, it's scary when you put all these things together. I mean, it's not a good, it's not a warm and fuzzy feeling, let's put it that way. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe, who knows? The scary part is that I haven't met a single person, medical professional or other type, politician, whatever. I haven't met a single person that has all the answers. I mean, nobody really understands this virus. And what's to say that, I don't know, not to freak people out, but what if people get it and then it mutates, and then in X number of months or X number of years it turns into something else? I mean, who knows? There's no way to know, because it hasn't, I think it's existed since last year. I'm fairly confident about that assumption. But I don't think it's been around long enough for anybody to know what all it's capable of, over the long haul. So all I gotta say is I've got, it's not the best stuff, but I've got 98 cans of Chef Boyardee, and that's what matters. That, and I've still got running water and working internet. So, there's, to your point though about the EMP, if we get hit by an EMP attack, that would be catastrophic. But I mean, it's scary stuff. But on that note, thing about drones, Mavic Air 2 should be amazing. And I just hope that my Mavic Air 2 from epicdroneshow.com is not delayed because of all of this. Because I know that sounds crazy. Well, man, why is somebody so excited about a drone and all that stuff's going on? Well, part of it is, being aware of what's going on and remaining vigilant about taking all the, continuing to take all the precautionary measures, not just for yourself, but for the benefit of others. But with drones, man, just being able to go out and relax and, get your mind off of, like I said, I've already limited my media consumption to 5 minutes a day. So, that just makes me mad. But at least with the drone, I can get out and answer y'all's questions, have a good time, and pretty much do whatever, So, I mean, it is what it is. But, yeah, we're going through some interesting times. I wouldn't say exciting, I would say interesting, because it's not exciting. But, yeah. But I tell you, it's good. If you get out, if you're not in a big city where it's elbow to elbow, if you can just get out and walk around and avoid people, and if you do your YouTube live like this, just do things to get your mind off of reality while remaining socially distanced. But I don't know. I mean, it's a mean, nasty, and vicious world, as Archibald Chesterfield III, AC3, would say. It is definitely a mean, nasty, and vicious world. But we'll get through it. And hopefully we'll get through it playing with Mavic Air 2. Getting that thing up in the air and seeing what it does. So I tell you, I'm excited, man. I'm bummed, though, as I mentioned during my studio live stream, being unable, obviously Iron Skies Adventure Channel has a temporary travel ban, and, been able to take it out to these remote islands like Curacao and places like that. It's going to be delayed, and I don't know how long. I mean, I would love to say, hey, Mavic 2 Air 2's arrived, and I'm going to take it out on the boat and get some good stuff. But to get to that boat, I'd have to go to an airport, and after going in the airport, I would have to get in the confined space of an aircraft. So I don't own my own airplane. If I did, it'd make it easy. But I mean, yeah, it's just not risk reward. I mean, God, I want the travel videos, man. I want the adventure and, continuing to pump out the content here for the channel. But using, look at that new AT&T infrastructure. That's nice. But yeah, the risk reward, it's just, the reward is capturing exceptional content. The risk is potentially dying and or infecting others. So it's just not worth it, man. It's not a time that's about oneself, it's about the safety and health of others too. So, for me to, let's say hypothetically, I could hop on an airplane. It would be, in my opinion, it would be ethically wrong for me to do that, because I would be knowingly stepping on a plane, knowing that if I'm asymptomatic, that I could be infecting people and vice versa. And then when I get to my, travel destination, once I get on my boat and get there, then potentially I'm infecting people at that travel destination. And then, they're returning to their home countries and they're spreading it. So it would be unethical to travel by way of airplane or any sort of mass transit right now. It's just, in my book, it's not appropriate. But I know a lot of us may have different opinions, and I respect y'all's opinions, but I'm not going to put the value of my company, of my YouTube channel, ahead of anybody else. And that's just, I stand firm with that. Now, if I can get content without having to get into any sort of mass transit or travel in a, or be in a congested area, that's the kind of content I'm going to get. And that's what I'm working on now, is really trying to figure out, how can I get to exciting places to film exciting videos but, avoid air travel or anything along those lines. And that's the challenge, is figuring that out. Once I figure that out, I think there's going to be an opportunity to capture some brand new and unique content that otherwise might not have been captured, because, I probably would have been on my boat and out in, out in the Caribbean somewhere. So, you never know. It is what it is. But, I don't know, man. It's freaky. It really is. But I am dying to get those videos, man. And I tell you, being an adventure channel, Irish Guys Adventure Channel, having this travel ban is tough. It's very tough. But there's only so much that can be done, and that's unfortunately nothing. Just remaining vigilant about safety and and the safety of others, and especially people that have pre-existing conditions or elderly. They're definitely at a higher risk. So think about that. It's not just yourself, it's the people that and especially people that I know of younger age group. It's sickening how the majority, at least the people I know of a younger age demographic, it's sickening how lighthearted they are about all this. They're just going on about their way, about their day. They're going to, not wearing a mask. They're going out in these big shopping centers and picking up food and eating it immediately without washing their hands. And it is, I don't know, man. It's it's very bad. But anyway, we do have a new drone to look forward to, and it's Mavic Air 2 as soon as I receive mine. And that's one thing I can promise y'all is a fair and honest Mavic Air 2 review. And hopefully, I hope that when I review my Mavic Air 2 that it encourages a lot of y'all to rush on over to epicdroneshow.com and buy a Mavic Air 2. That's part of obviously that's part of my business is trying to encourage drone sales through my website, irishguy.com or epicdroneshow.com. But yeah, we'll get through this, and it's just again, it's patience, and so many people nowadays are not patient. They want instant gratification for everything, regardless of the risk. It's sick. It really is. And that's the part that's, I guess, the part I learned about what the pandemic has taught me is, and it's not a good thing, but what the pandemic's taught me is how ignorant the majority of the world actually is. And a lot of these people are people that I may otherwise think, oh, they're exceptional people, but during uncertain times, during first time experiences, real people, the people that people really are, shine through. And I tell you, man, I know so many people that had me fooled, man. This pandemic has taught me that, and to give those people credit, maybe they're just reacting a certain way because they're in a state of shock, and maybe it's not the real reaction that's coming out. Maybe what the emotions that they're exhibiting, maybe they're actually false, and it's the result of panic. Who knows? Any viruses on you, and I'm walking around and walking through a parking lot in the field and talking on the live stream. So it's a good thing. It's the best it can be right now. So true. We can make smart choices with viruses to mitigate infections. What is scary is EMP. Oh, I read that comment earlier. Sorry. It's funny. I hit live chat and it pops up the last comment. Yep. What's funny though, and I don't know if y'all have noticed this, but y'all can probably hear all those birds. a sign that some people at least are abiding by this. You've noticed that the wildlife has been hyperactive. Whereas you may have heard just a few birds or animals. Now because more people are actually staying in quarantine, that the wildlife is more prevalent. And obviously wildlife typically doesn't care for people. So, when there's less people, the wildlife tends to be more active. So that's kind of interesting. Notice that the next time you're out. It's it's something that I noticed. And then also the UFO reports are up. I don't know if y'all believe in UFOs, but kind of interesting. If there's an intelligent life form outside of Earth that is aware of what's going on more closely, and maybe that explains why there's been a heightened number of UFO reports. But I mean, who knows? And one thing that really got to me, that post, apparently there's some sort of hornet that's now been spread throughout the world, calling it the murder hornet. I don't know. I think that's a bunch of media. I hope it's, but I mean, things are getting out of control, man. Totally out of control. But just keep marching forward. Keep your head up. Keep marching forward. That's all you can do. That and wash your hands. But yeah, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Just being a realist. No reason to not be. I'm not the fake news. But yeah, I mean, we'll get through it. We will get through it. But on that note, I've burned about, today I've actually had a lazy day, man, working in the studio, and I've only burned about 900 calories. So I've got to really get with it, man. That's the one thing that keeps me going. With gyms closed, and I had done away with all my home gym equipment because I wanted the space, and I didn't need equipment if I was going to have a gym membership. And of course this hit, so I hadn't been in the gym since, what was it, late February? I can't remember, whenever it was. So I'm really missing that, but I'm afraid it may be months or a year or so before I'm able to go back to the gyms. So I may pick up as much as I don't want to do it, I may cancel my gym membership and pick up some free weights. There's some cool ones, and they've been on back order, but they're dumbbells, and there's just 2 of them, and they've got different weight ranges. I think the ones I would get would be, I think, like 20 to 55 pounds, and you can toggle a switch, and it'll pull out the desired weight. So in essence, with 2 dumbbells, you've got the capability of a larger set of dumbbells. So from a space perspective, you're just going to have 2 dumbbells, and then depending upon the dumbbell exercise you're doing, you'll only pull out whatever weight you want. So think about picking those up, and then just a bench that I can do decline, incline, flat, and seated. Because if I have that, at least I can get a good upper body workout, and I can do my curls, and then I can just do crunches for abs, and then do hiking and walks like this for the cardio portion. So it's not a total, it's not the gym experience. I mean, you can't replicate that, but at least I'd be getting strength training, because right now I'm not getting any strength training. And if fitness, even if you're not a bodybuilder, you don't care to get huge, which I don't care about that. But if you do cardio only and you don't do strength training as well, you're not getting the full benefit. So for that reason, you know, I need the strength training, and I just don't have the equipment right now to do it. So I gotta do that, and hopefully I'll be able to find some dumbbells like that here soon. They've been on back order, and I don't do that kind of stuff, but it's it's frustrating, man. Think about all these things, and one thing I did pick up, and I think y'all are gonna like this, but I picked up I'm gonna start making waffles. Instead of buying waffles, I'm gonna start making homemade waffles. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of, kind of like the air fry with Irix Guy video playlist with the air fryer. I'm gonna start doing a lot of waffle recipes. So stay tuned for that. And I think I'm not gonna reveal what it is, but this waffle maker I've got that's coming that I'll be debuting on the channel soon is pretty awesome. I don't think you've probably never seen a waffle maker like it. And it's super affordable, but stay tuned, and I think you're gonna really enjoy that. Other than that, man, just waffles and drones and trying to not get fat, you know, trying to keep this gut down. That's it, man. I mean, just, you know, staying in constant communications with my fans. So appreciate y'all's viewership, and I think I'm gonna walk around for another hour, and then walk for an hour, and then take a shower, and then do it all again tomorrow. So thank y'all for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. Now we got a ton of people tuning in. Whoa, we got 5 people, 3 people. I was about to sign off. That's funny. I was about to end the show, and then we got a swarm of people swarming in here. I'll tell you what, I'll do a few more laps for the team. How about that? Oh, and don't forget, if you haven't super chatted, feel free to do so during my live shows. Just a great way to support the channel. You know, I am an independent YouTube channel, so it's your support that helps me out. And you know, obviously for all your drones and electronics and everything, just go to epicdroneshow.com or irixguy.com, and that helps me tremendously. But yeah, for all the flood of people that just dialed in, I'm going to keep on walking and talking. That's the best combination. It really is. It's good cardio. It's good. It improves one's multitasking capabilities. It keeps the walk interesting. Oh, we got more people. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Cell phone signal's been better today. Usually I would have about 5 or 6 buffering episodes, and I've only had 1. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe it is. Anything that's positive that we can think of. What are y'all's most encouraging words for today? If you could say something that was very, very good, what would it be? You know, what is your quote of the day? What is your quote of the day? Like I said, my quote is it's not optimistic, but it's from Archibald Chesterfield III, AC3. And it's a mean, nasty, and vicious world. That's my quote. What's y'all's quote? Danger, high voltage, keep off. You gotta have a quote, man. You got to have a quote. Quote. Share your quotes. Money can't buy time. You're right. Real estate student. Money can't buy time. You're right. And you know what? That's interesting. I came up with, and this was one that I came up with, and I don't think anybody else has used it. If they have, I apologize. But health before wealth, you know? Yeah, wealth is important, but if you don't have health, you know, like you said, money can't buy time, man. Money cannot buy time. So, well, I guess it kind of could if someone was thrown in jail and then they had to get bailed out of jail. In that situation, money would be buying time because they'd get out of jail because of money, and then they'd have time to do whatever. But I guess, to your point, in most scenarios, money can't buy time. But in that scenario, it possibly could. Not that I want anybody to go to jail. I mean, don't misconstrue my comments. That would be a horrible thing. That would definitely be horrible. But, yeah. So, what's exciting today, real estate student? What have you learned about the real estate market? Anything exciting about the real estate market or industry? Got to be something exciting about it. For sure. Yeah, you're right. It certainly can. It certainly can. Yeah, I don't know, man. So what do you think? Do you think this is going to be a positive? Do you think it's going to be I mean, I don't know. Do you think this is a buying opportunity for real estate investors? Or do you think it's oh, I got something to tell y'all here in a second, man. This is crazy. Be just a second. I'm going to share something really earth-shattering with y'all. Yeah, that was not cool. That was not cool at all. I'm about to tell y'all what happened. So, I was, well, this is sketchy. Look, there's just like random water bottles and a to-go plate and a pack of something. And then like another water bottle. That's creepy. Just sitting on the ground. No, man, I'm kind of walking in a scandalous area. And I kind of diverted because this dude started walking up. And dude, he was like cracked out on meth. Yeah, that was kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I'm just glad I wasn't approached because, you know, I want to avoid social contact with everyone. I definitely don't want to be attacked by a meth addict. That's not cool. Yeah, that is not cool. Not cool at all. Just got attacked by a meth addict, and then this Mercedes AMG just blew by me on the other side of the spectrum, man. That was I've never been a fan of Mercedes. I owned a few of them, but I don't know, man. I just didn't get them. I never understood the draw to a Mercedes Benz, but that one looked kind of cool. Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid the close encounters with the meth addicts. Don't want to run into that because I am kind of walking in sketchy places. So. Yep. So what else is going on? Anything exciting for y'all? Any good stories from the day or anything that's any disturbing news? Has COVID-19 impacted you financially? Oh yeah, man. It has shoved a trying to think of a good way to put it. I wouldn't say a death blow, but I would say it is pretty much. That's why I'm doing all these live streams, man. It is pretty much. Let's say let's say a really hard and mean and nasty and vicious setback. So I'm not gonna let it bother me because I'm a hustler, and I'm not going to let it bother me at all. But yeah, I mean, it has been brutal, and I know it's been brutal for a lot of people. But I'm one of those. I try to see the good in everything, and I'm turning it into a let's put it this way. In life, the times that I've made the most money are the times when I've been really mad. And, for that reason, I think that, I think it may be a good thing, to just get really mad and get really innovative and really, put together that new multi-million-dollar strategy, whatever it may be. The scary part is, though, let's say hypothetically that a new multi-million-dollar business model was created and it materialized as expected. Because of inflation, a few $1,000,000 is not much. I mean, I hate to say it. So, yeah, I mean, it's and I hope it hasn't put a dent on you. I mean, I know it's put a dent on the world as a whole, but, it's one of those deals, how do you choose to deal with it and, turn it into a motivational tool. And again, for me, like I said, I've made the most money when I've been really mad. And, I don't like being mad, but, if being mad creates career opportunities, that's really all that matters. Because, everything, every ship that sinks is going to be pulled out of the water at some point. Except unless it's the Titanic. I guess that's probably not going to be pulled out. But, I mean, it's just a matter of how you look at it. And, this, as we were discussing earlier during this live show, this has created a lot of a future need for work-at-home infrastructure. It's created the demand for more professions to be retooled so that those professions are able to be operated remotely. What if something like this happens again? What if this pandemic was just a test for an even worse pandemic? If we're not prepared, it could be an even scarier time and in a more uncertain time. So, I feel that this is going to breed rapid innovation, and that there's going to be a lot of new businesses emerge as the product of this pandemic. And that's, obviously that's what I'm looking for now is, yeah, this is rough. I mean, it's, the purchases are down. People aren't buying as much merchandise through my website. That's down. Obviously YouTube is, everything goes down, and it's not a good feeling. But again, look at the positive aspects of the pandemic. Here's the warning sign. There's a mask just discarded on the road. It's not enough to throw your Remy Martin and Aristocrat vodka on the side of the road. I passed that earlier, but now you got to throw your medical mask over there too. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, again, this is, to look at it brightly, this is an opportunity to identify those new business models and to become the person that, that creates the next multi-million-dollar idea. And, you don't even have to follow through to implementation. I mean, if you've got the idea, if you've got the business plan and you attract investors, you can sell your idea for name your price. And if that business plan is solid enough, you don't really have to do much beyond writing that business plan, ensuring that it's solid, and then selling that business plan to the highest bidder. So, if you have an idea and you thoroughly document and, you're able to, patent and or trademark certain components of it if necessary, now's the time to make some real money. Now's the time to hopefully better create more security, for your future. And that's, that's one of the rare opportunities that this horrible pandemic has produced. So, there's money to be made here. And yeah, I know world is financially destroyed right now. I agree. But, you know, again, if you empower yourself to innovate and question what's next, and, you know, what can you do personally to provide value? Do you like stock buying? Oh man, I love penny stocks. I tell you, I like over-the-counter bulletin board. Pink sheets are my favorite. I like the triple zeros. I like the bottom of the barrel, man. I like the pump and dumps. How about you? Now I burned about 900 calories. This isn't too bad. Still need to be doing more, but thing about the stock market, expect to lose it all. This is probably what's going to happen. I mean, it's thing I've learned about it. You know, if I make really tremendous gains with one, then I'm probably spreading those gains out among multiple other speculative plays. And then of those, you know, if you get a big win, you're probably going to lose those winnings. Will you ever take a shot at the casino? Nope, have no desire. I'm a penny stock gambler, but I'm not a casino gambler. I'll go into a casino without any credit cards or anything, and I'll take $100, and I will go to each bar in the casino and get my free drink, and then I will play quarter slot machines. So I'll drink for free and I'll play quarter slots. And then if they cut me off there, I'll just walk to the next one and get a free drink and do the same thing until that $100 is diminished. I'm not a gambler, but I do like a good drink, especially a free drink. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we'll get through all of this, man. We will create a better tomorrow. It just takes patience and it takes innovation. So with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. And if you're looking for drones, cameras, food, anything, I've got it all. Go to my website, ironsguy.com or epicdroneshow.com. Y'all stay safe and wash your hands. Have a good day.